let's go ahead and get into this. So now on the stand, we are going to do a little bit of a rewind to day 6, and we're going to hear from a close friend of Nick Kassotis, or Nicholas Kassotis, and Mindy's, someone who actually worked with Nick. And then we're going to find out later she actually loaned them some money. Nick, as we heard from his testimony, is alleging that he had no idea that the money came from her, which is BS, but we'll get into that in a second. Check it out. And this is Nick's friend, Cameron Nelson.
Please raise your right hand and take the oath.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Please be seated.
Would you state your name, please?
Cameron Nelson,
How do you spell Cameron?
Cameron,
Where do you live?
in Williamsburg, Virginia.
Did you travel here from Williamsburg, Virginia for this trial?
I did not. During the week for work, I live in Falls Church, Virginia.
How long have you been living there?
In Falls Church
Yes.
since January 2025.
How are you currently employed?
I'm employed as an attorney for the Defense Health Agency
And how long have you been working with
Now
that?
let me know if the sound is
since
good.
February of 2022.
And what is the mission of that agency?
The Defense Health Agency administers the military health system, taking care of the beneficiaries of active duty, retired, and reserve members of the armed forces.
You married?
I am, yes, sir.
What's your husband's name?
His name is Benjamin Gray Nelson II.
What does he go by?
He goes by Gray.
How is he employed?
He's employed with his own businesses. He owns restaurants.
Which type of restaurant?
Mellow Mushroom Pizza Bakers
Okay. How many does he own?
Shout out to him.
Where?
in Charlottesville, Virginia, Williamsburg, Virginia, and Newport News, Virginia.
A lot of Navy people in Newport News.
Closer.
If you could position yourself closer.
Can you tap your microphone, make sure it's working?
Okay, thank you.
Did you serve in the military?
Yes, sir, I did.
What branch?
In the Navy.
And what was your military occupational specialty?
I started as a nurse corps officer where I practiced oncology and medical surgical nursing, and then later switched to the Judge Advocate General's Corps where I practiced as an attorney.
How long did you serve in the Navy?
20 years active with total 24, including reserve time.
Did you retire
Yes, sir, I did.
in good standing?
Yes, sir.
What was your rank when you left the Navy?
Commander.
Nice.
Can you see the defendant in this case, Nicholas Kassotis, from where you're seated?
Yes, I can.
How do you know him?
Nick and I met at Naval Justice School in 2008 when he was attending the basic lawyer course.
And what was your job and what was his job while you were at the Naval Justice School?
After he finished that course, he reported to Naval Legal Service Office Mid-Atlantic, where we were both stationed, until I departed in 2009.
What happened to you personally around 2009?
In February of 2009, I was diagnosed with cancer for the first time.
Oh, no.
I was scheduled to deploy aboard the USNS Comfort, which is one of 2 hospital ships. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to go on that deployment because of that diagnosis.
Oh, that's terrible.
And when the defendant learned that you had been deployed, what, if anything, did he do?
He took that deployment for me. In fact, the same day that I reported to the command to let them know of
Nice.
the diagnosis, Nick immediately volunteered to take that deployment so that I could focus on treatment.
What was your relationship like with the defendant during that period of time?
It was good. We became friends. We worked together, socialized together.
Seems like everybody loved
both
Nick.
with our colleagues and their spouses as well.
And how long was that deployment on the USNF Comfort?
It was approximately 5 months.
And where was the deployment?
Central America, South America, and the Caribbean.
At some point during your career, were you ever stationed at the Pentagon?
Yes, sir, I was.
From when to when?
The first time from 2011 to 2014, and the second time after a postgraduate degree, I came back from 2015 to 16.
And what kind of work did you do while you were at the Pentagon?
The first time I was the flag aide for the Judge Advocate General of the Navy and also worked for the Chief of Naval Operations as a Deputy Legal Counsel. The second time I was temporarily assigned to the Office of Judge Advocate General Code 18, which did cyber law, as well as the Department of Defense Office of General Counsel for Intelligence.
During the time that the defendant was in the Navy, was he too also stationed at the Pentagon?
Yes, sir, he was.
And what was his job at the Pentagon?
He was also assigned to what we call OJAG, both to Code 13, which practiced administrative law, and to Code 10, international law.
Are you familiar with the defendant's first wife, Heather?
Yes, sir, I am.
How do you know Heather?
I met Heather through Nick. Once they began dating and became engaged, we continued to socialize with them, and we attended their wedding.
At some point, did they become divorced?
Yes, sir, they did.
And following their divorce, did the defendant ever discuss the breakup with you?
He did.
What did he say about their breakup?
He expressed significant distress about the fact that there had been infidelity, which he alleged had been on Heather's part. In addition, he shared that Heather had lied about wanting to have children and that he was desperate to become a father.
Desperate to
I'm showing
become
you
a
now
father.
a photograph
Oh.
that's marked States Exhibit 2.32. Can you see this photograph from where you're seated?
Yes, sir, I can.
Do you recognize the person in this photograph?
Yes, sir, I do.
Who is that?
Mindy.
Do you know her last name?
Maiden name was Mebin, married name Kassotis.
How did you come to know Mindy?
I also met Mindy through Nick, and we developed a close friendship. Mindy was incredibly vibrant and generous, and we became closer over time.
And did they become married?
They did, yes, sir.
Did you attend that wedding?
I did.
Do you recall a time that the defendant was discharged from the Navy?
I do.
Roughly when did that occur?
Approximately 2017.
And did he discuss
Man,
with
it'd take two
you
of 'em out
his
there.
work plans after he left the Navy?
He shared that he was interested in practicing cyber law and information technology law, and had developed that interest in part through his Master of Laws program at Georgetown.
Did he ever mention to you an association with Microsoft?
He did. He shared that in his job search as he was leaving the Navy, he had gone to an event called Jobs for JAGS, which is an annual event that's hosted by the Judge Advocate Association. There he met a man named Peter who worked for Microsoft in some capacity, and that Peter had been interested in talking about cyber opportunities for Nick.
And did you communicate with the defendant after he left the Navy?
Yes, I did.
Were you asked by Detective Frost with the Liberty County Sheriff's Office to indicate the different addresses and phone numbers that you had used to communicate with him?
Yes, sir.
I'm showing you now what's marked with States Exhibit number 2.33 and ask if you can identify them.
Yes, sir, I do recognize those. That's a list of email addresses and phone numbers with which I communicated with Mindy and Nick.
And that you provided to the Liberty County
Correct.
Sheriff's Office. I'll tender it this time. States Exhibit 2.33.
Any objection? No objection. It is admitted.
At some point during the time you were communicating with the defendant, did you guys use Signal?
We did.
What is Signal?
Signal is an app where you can text or make phone calls. They're encrypted, as far as I understand. It's not uncommon to use that because it doesn't use data charges in a lot of cases if you're on Wi-Fi.
And does it have a feature that can make the messages disappear?
You can. Either user could set that message to disappear at a certain period of time or immediately.
And at some point we'll get to later, you provided messages to the Georgia Bureau of Investigation
I did.
and explained how they did not disappear?
Generally, Nick had set the text settings so that they would disappear. Sometimes he did not do that, and it's not my habit to have messages disappear unless I intentionally delete them, so I had not deleted those.
At some point, did Nick ever discuss with you threats that he was receiving?
He did.
What did he say?
He explained first that there had been an issue with his USAA banking account, that someone had either hacked his account or had somehow, I think an employee of USAA or more than one employee, had accessed his account. He also explained that there had been issues with his mail. And in addition to that, he explained that
Crazy
his
stuff.
first wife, Heather, had attempted to break into the house.
Did he say anything to you about threats made by Heather?
He indicated that Heather had made threats to him. I don't recall specifically, but that he had reported the threats from Heather and the break-in to the Alexandria Police Department and the issues with the banking and the mail to the FBI.
That's what he said.
Correct.
Did there come a time that he began experiencing financial problems?
He explained that he had been, yes.
And what did he tell you about his financial problems?
That related back to the USAA issues. He explained that he did not have access to any of the money that was in his account and was struggling to pay bills, common bills, and very basic level bills like vet bills, medical bills for Mindy, food, and was in distress because of that.
Did you and your husband attempt to help him out financially?
We did. Prior to May of 2018, we had provided some minimal assistance. In May of 2018, he asked for $2,000 in cash, which I did provide. And that date stands out because at the time that I had also been diagnosed with cancer a second time. And Nick had indicated that he felt it was a significant thing to ask me to do that while I was undergoing cancer treatment, and that he would not do so if it were not an emergency.
Now, was this a gift or a loan?
It was a loan.
Did there come a time that he was given access to a Capital One Venture credit card?
Yes, sir.
Tell the jury about that.
Whose
As
car
time
was
went
it?
on, we provided more assistance. And while Nick and Mindy were still in Alexandria, we provided, not housing, but we provided food, medical expenses, and dog food or vet bills for Rusty, their dog. And as time went on and we got closer to the time they left in November 2019, we opted to use a credit card so that we could easily track what was being spent, knowing that it might go up after they left the area because there would be housing expenses as well.
And how much did the defendant charge to that credit card?
In total,
Total.
approximately $198,000.
Oh my goodness.
And that was a loan, not a gift.
That was a loan. On 2 separate occasions, Nick indicated that he intended to repay and had either set up a wire transfer to repay us or had actually gotten a cashier's check, and those never materialized.
Oh
Has he
my
ever paid
gosh.
a penny towards that debt?
Not a penny.
At some point, he was
Would y'all
cut off
loan somebody
from using that
100K?
card. Is that correct?
He was in early 2021.
If yes, email me.
At this point, it had been over a year and a half that we just felt like it was no longer sustainable. That Nick had repeatedly said that he would attempt to make some repayment, and we understood he had repaid at least one other friend based on what he had shared with us. And we decided that it was just not sustainable to continue to allow him to borrow money.
And so he was cut off approximately when?
January of 2021,
They had that
When's the
black
last time you
card,
saw them?
Amy.
November 2019.
Jesus.
Under what circumstance?
It was as he and Mindy were preparing to leave Alexandria, and they came to our home and we had dinner together.
And after you last saw him, did you continue to stay in touch with him?
We did, mostly by text message.
That's crazy. So he ran up all that money on the credit card, and she's like, I said, hey, come on over for dinner. Dude, what? Flagship
At some
Navy
point,
Federal
was there any
Card. Yep.
conversation by the defendant about changing his name?
Yes, sir, there was.
Tell the jury about that.
I don't recall the date.
I'm not gonna lie,
It was
they
after
hand them
left
things out too,
Alexandria,
Tay.
And Nick shared that he had learned that his parents were not his
It's
biological
not hard to get.
parents, and so he was going to change his last name to Stark as a result of that discovery.
And did he tell you why he picked Stark?
My understanding was that that was the name of his biological parents.
What about his birth date?
He also changed his birthday. His original birthday, I believe, was in June, and he changed it to February 14th. He told me that was his actual birth date.
Did you ever have any conversation with the defendant about his writing?
I did. Nick and Mindy had both shared that Nick had developed an interest in writing fiction. I would categorize it as short horror stories, and that he had had some success publishing on online forums.
Was there one in particular that stands out that he claimed was a success?
There was. Nick shared with me that one of his stories had been purchased and would be turned into a movie, and that was, he told me that in 2022, but I think the story was published in 2019 originally.
Do you recall the name of that story?
I do.
What is it?
I think my mother-in-law is trying to kill me.
And what was the mother-in-law's name in that?
Betsy.
When you would communicate with him, especially electronically, how would he
Crazy.
refer to Mindy?
It's wild that it's still
Usually
up.
by the initial M, which he referred to her in conversation as well, vocal conversation prior to the time they left Alexandria.
I'm going to show to you State's Exhibit number 2.34, 2.35, 2.36, 2.37, 2.38, 2.39,
I think we have some text messages here.
2.41. I want you to take a moment and look at these documents and tell me if you recognize what they are.
I do. These are text messages on Signal to me from Nick.
Okay. Are they all true and accurate copies of the actual text message that you received from the defendant?
Yes, sir. I took them as screenshots.
And have you had an opportunity to review those before court today?
I have.
And did you provide the law enforcement with copies of those?
I did.
I'll tender at this time, Your Honor, each of those exhibits, 2.34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39,
Betrayed by his
40,
own friend.
41. They've been shown to opposing counsel.
Any objection? No objection, Your Honor. They're all admitted.
Sarcasm.
There are 8 documents. You may proceed.
All right, starting first with Exhibit 2.34. On what date was that sent?
June 8th, 2022.
And what did he tell you in that message?
He shared the news that Mindy was pregnant in this message.
Now turning to Exhibit 2.35, what's the date?
October 26, 2022.
And if you would read that to the jury, please, both your response and his response.
Yes, sir. I asked Nick, how is M doing? And Nick replied, not great. More scared than she lets on, I think. Trying to work through things to figure out what's going on and how to keep her okay. And I replied, I'm so sorry. I wish I could help. Please keep me posted. I will definitely say tons of prayers, as always. And Nick replied, I definitely will.
Now turning your attention to Exhibit 2.36, what is the date on that?
October 29th, 2022.
And would you read that for the jury?
Nick indicated that Mindy was doing a little worse, heading to the hospital again in the morning unless this new medication starts to work. I replied, oh no, sending lots of prayers and hugs. Is the hospital okay? Tell the nurses to be good to her. Nick replied, it is. They've been very decent with things, explaining options and timelines. And I replied, I'm very glad to hear that.
I don't recall where you currently work right now. What's the name of that agency?
I currently work for the Defense Health Agency, but I no longer practice as a nurse. I'm currently practicing as an attorney.
But are you familiar with what service members and their families are entitled to use TRICARE?
Yes, sir. TRICARE is a health plan that provides health care to designated
So here goes to the
beneficiaries.
insurance.
In general, those beneficiaries would be active duty, reserve, or retired service members and their families, Medal of Honor winners, survivors, and dependents, as well as other categories that may not be named. But there are very specific limitations as to who's eligible for TRICARE.
TRICARE is
So in
amazing.
November of 2022, while the defendant is out of the Navy and Mindy has no association with the Navy, would they have been entitled to care from TRICARE?
Based on what I understood of Nick's status and that he had been discharged fully from the reserves and what he had shared with me, I do not believe that he would have been eligible.
Let me direct your attention to Exhibit 2.37.
So there you go.
What is the date?
November 1st, 2022.
Would you read that for the jury?
I inquired, how is M doing? Nick responded, I think a little better. We have an appointment tomorrow afternoon, so we're hopeful that we're getting the thumbs up for her to move on at it. Hopefully they see some improvement. I replied, a little better is, in fact, better. We will keep saying prayers. How are you? Nick replied, I'll be okay just as soon as I know everything is good with her. I can only repack everything so many times to identify new efficiencies.
Now look at State's Exhibit 2.38. What is the date?
December 1st, 2022.
Would you read that to the jury, please?
Nick texted, hi Cameron, I have no idea how to write this, and I'm so sorry to send it like this, but M passed away. Please keep that close hold. I would never ask you to keep it from Gray, but I don't know how to manage anything else, and I know a lot of people still need to be told. I don't have many answers yet about what happened. I've just never felt this bad. I replied, I'm so sorry to hear this. My heart breaks for you. How can we help?
Nick was selling the story.
Now direct your attention to Exhibit 2.39. You see it?
Yes, sir.
What's the date?
December 5th, 2022.
Would you please read that to the jury?
Nick texted, they said it was a stroke. Nothing that could have been done. Her dad said it runs in the family. I didn't know that. I don't know if that makes it better or worse, but now we know, I guess. And I replied, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. What a shock, especially at such a young age. I think it helps only in that it stops your mind from some of the constant wondering. Nick replied, her blood pressure had been a constant concern, but not in this way. Like it worried me, but I didn't think this was the worst case.
Now take a look at Exhibit 2.40. What is the date?
December 11th, 2022.
And would you read that to the jury?
I texted Nick, checking on you. How is today going? And Nick replied, so. I have M's ashes back. The process was awful, and I never got to see her after I was told, and I feel sick about it. I thought that it was going to be different, and maybe I should have asked more questions, but I just wasn't comprehending.
And finally, turn your attention to Exhibit 2.41. What's the date?
March 28th,
Of what year?
2023.
Would you read that to the jury?
Nick texted, I heard a rumor you were trying to find me. My car quite literally exploded on me, and I've been in the hospital while I wait to see what happened. Sorry I've been so hard to reach. The other phone died in the fire. You should see the photos. Gray would probably find them interesting.
And then were there photographs attached to that text?
There were, yes, sir.
And
How
are
would you
they
feel
attached to that
finding out you
exhibit?
were close to somebody who did something like this? That's got to be strange.
That's all the questions I have. Thank you.
Mr. Weinstein, cross-examination.
Yep, exactly. Amy said he was making his rounds, selling his lies. Where have we seen that before, Amy?
Good afternoon, Ms. Nelson.
Good afternoon.
I'm Doug Weinstein. I'm representing Nick Kassotis in this case. You got to know Nick, did you say at Naval Justice in 2008? Is that correct?
We met briefly there, yes.
And when did you get to actually know him better?
During our first duty station in the Judge Advocate General's Corps in Norfolk.
What was Nick like?
Kind. Nick was the first person to offer to help someone. You know, frequently he was the first person to volunteer, as obviously he volunteered for the deployment for me.
Did you ever know him to be violent?
No,
Did he have a temper?
not that I saw.
In States Exhibit 2.37 from November 1st of 2022, I believe Nick references repacking everything. What did you take that to mean?
That they were going to relocate to a different house or a different location.
Was that common for them at the time?
Yes, it had been.
How often would you say they moved, as far as you know?
Often, I mean, it varied.
Every few days, every few months, every few weeks?
It could be all of the above.
You've retained a law firm to try to recover the money that you lent to Nick, correct?
We did.
And the law firm is Kaufman and Canoles?
He said, please hold.
Hoffman and Knowles, yes.
Kaufman and Canoles. And the amount that you are seeking to recover from Nick Kassotis is $199,402.91. Does that sound about right?
$200K she sued him for.
I have no further questions. Thank you.
Dang, she sued that man. I did not know this. So he's facing a civil lawsuit as well? That's the end of it. What do y'all think about this testimony? Nick is in some deep, you know what, man. And Amy talked about this, or we talked about this after a previous trial. His family could be responsible for this if he ends up in jail. That's a possibility as well. Not great. Let me know what y'all think about this.